AI continues to develop right in front of our eyes. Let's look into how it might affect design and creativity. If you came to this video looking for answers, I'm telling you now that unfortunately today I'm swaying I don't have them. In fact, I don't think anyone truly does, and that's important to be kept in mind. Instead, this video is meant to serve as a reference point to where we are right now. So let's start off with some bangers. How about Nvidia's eye contact feature that uses AI to make it look like someone's looking at the camera at all times? Or how about the anime that was made using Stable Diffusion? Now, why do I mention tools like these? It's very important that we recognize that AI is fundamentally different than anything else before. An argument I often hear is that the same people who worry about AI are the same people who made noise during the calculator, the printing press, or other technological advancements of their time. But unlike previous inventions, AI is very complex and has the possibility to perform a wide array of tasks and functions. While I do agree that there are people out there who inadvertently fearmonger without fully understanding its capabilities and limitations, I think there are valid concerns about this technology to be had due to the potentials that it has. We're currently already seeing projects that are being published that are completely AI generated. No human modifications other than them setting the prompt and choosing which images they like. But where it already gets dangerous is the precedents that are being set this early on. Jansen Garside on TikTok recently made a video covering the Fall 2023 collection that Montclair Genius released. He did a great video breaking down why, as of now, AI does not serve as a good end-all be-all to the design process. While they initially look great when you first see them, looking closer there are numerous errors and impossible features to these garments that are just not realistic at all. Jansen also raises the point that big publications, and even Montclair Genius for that matter, hadn't disclosed the fact that it's clearly AI generated. If you try looking it up yourself, you'll see that that fact is definitely obscured. Industrial designer Karim Rashid has been sharing series of objects on social media, and despite some people having caught on to this also being AI generated, there is also zero disclosure of it being AI generated or even at the least AI assisted. Instead, it's captioned under development with the hashtag designed by Karim, and even in his bio it states everything here on this Instagram page is designed by Karim Rashid. The point of ethical disclosure is a big one. Failure to do so would be deceiving, and in my eyes affects the artwork's authenticity and the artist's integrity. It also brings concern to the idea that while these images may be clearly AI generated now, will that still be the case in the future? AI images began as these obscure and blurry interpretations, and we very quickly gotten to this point where we now have models such as Midjourney that is able to create realistic and convincing images. With a trained eye, we can still identify these non-human creations majority of the time. What would the implications be if they soon became indiscernible? This video sparked from a Discord conversation I was reading where someone had said they were experiencing Midjourney fatigue, and how their explore page on IG was littered with Midjourney images. I thought it was really nice to stop and discuss how we as artists, designers, and creatives felt about this current AI models right now. I opened up a question prompt asking what some people thought about AI in the creative space, and what I received was fairly mixed. There seemed to be a very general consensus and agreement that for the most part it was meant for mock-ups, references, and should only be part of the process and not the final output. There also seemed to be a good point that was raised, which I think is a majority of people right now who don't completely understand it or know where it will go, but because it's a good tool they just use it in their process right now. When I think about AI, I cannot think of anything that is unable to be replicated, and it scares me a lot. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about how while this is a tool, it's also something that should be very heated and considered more than just a tool because of the capabilities it has and where it can go. And lastly, when giving AI too much power, we lose our identities as collaborative human beings. That would go along with some of my personal feelings about AI. Personally, some of the magic is lost for me when people completely use AI. It can go all the way from people like Karim Rashid or Montclair to even some small artists I know on IG that I follow that have full feeds of AI generated art instead of their own. Whether something physical that you can touch and buy or just digital renders, I still appreciate the idea that someone human behind those decisions are there and you can at least trace back to, rather than an AI creating an average of or generating based on patterns it's fed. There is the case that a human is behind the images because they're feeding it prompts and curating, but I think it's a huge shortcut comparatively, and a significant amount of intuition and empathy in design is lost through it. With all that being said, I think there are reasonings to not be totally pessimistic about the future of creativity. All hope is not lost. Although AI's processing is and will probably forever be faster than humans, what it does lack is soft skills, things like novel ideas, intuition, empathy. Moving forward, we can look to highlight these things within our own work, or raise them through if using AI at all, collaboratively or as a tool in our process. AI is trained only on the data that it's fed. Without humans, artificial intelligence lacks that logic and reasoning that we have to make connections and understand within context. Will we ever invent such technology that overcomes that? We'll find out. But I hope that this opens up thoughts about your role as a creator and that the discussion on AI's role in the creative process is continued. Thanks for listening.